world was young, the mountains green, no stain yet on the moon was seen.
Then with a crash came a great ringing shout. Ra, boom, ra.
3 rings for the elven kings under the sky, 7 for the dwarf lords in their halls of stone, 9 for mortal men doomed to die, 1 for the dark lord on his dark throne in the land of Mordor where the shadows lie. 1 ring to rule them all, 1 ring to find them, 1 ring to bring them all, and in the darkness bind them in the land of Mordor where the shadows lie.
It's talking about Tolkien, and I almost said words about books. But
yeah, no, it's not words about books. It's talking about Tolkien. Feels like it's been a while since we recorded.
It has been. I think it's only been like 2 or 3 weeks, but it feels like a lot longer.
Yeah.
Season 6. Talking about Tolkien.
Wow. Yeah, I guess we do 2 a year though, so it's not as impressive.
Yeah, they go by a lot faster than words about books.
Yeah.
The first chapter of book 1 of book 3 of the Lord of the Rings, which is the 4th book if you count The Hobbit. Chapter 1, Minas Tirith.
Okay. Those aren't letters those letters aren't even present in the word. I know you know it's Minas Tirith because they say it in the movie a lot. They don't say Cirith Ungol quite as much. Yeah, Minas Tirith. This is going to be my usual thing of comparing the book to the movie is going to kind of fall apart here because at this point they're basically just different stories.
Yeah.
There's almost nothing in common except
Does
the
Denethor,
characters.
Run out, lit on fire, and then do a stage dive off of a mountain?
Does he run from the place where he was burning Faramir up 3 flights of stairs and then across a field and then off the edge? No.
Yeah.
No.
Tolkien didn't think of that, huh?
I've watched some people react to the movie for the first time, and a lot of them are like, "Oh, he made it pretty far, being completely on fire."
Yeah, I mean, eventually you just, you push out the pain, you burn through those nerves, and you can just go on.
Don't you need those to run? I don't know.
It's pure muscle, baby.
It's like a chicken with its head cut off. It's just he was dead like way before he got across that football field length.
But yeah, his body was just reacting.
Yeah.
His body knew it needed to go up those stairs and off that mountain.
No, you once asked me what character was done dirtiest by the movie, and Denethor is a top contender.
Yeah, I think Faramir is up there.
Yeah.
And Denethor.
Yeah, Faramir in the movie, at least, is a good guy. Denethor...
And he gets some action at the end. Good for him, man.
Denethor is like a monster. A cartoon villain for Gandalf to just beat with a stick.
Yeah, he's the secondary villain of that story that has to be overcome. He's an incompetent moron who would plunge the city into ruin if not for our fair heroes.
Yeah, and I kind of understand the problem there, I guess, for Peter Jackson, in that there really isn't a good villain, like a personification of there isn't an antagonist, I guess I should say. There isn't one antagonist you can point to, because Sauron's never on screen. But boy,
he has a body in the books.
Boy, did they mess with Denethor. So I'm interested in your summary. I'm interested in your reaction to this as we go along.
Well, as someone who just finished reading the chapter 20 minutes ago,
your memory is fresh.
I can tell you I didn't take a whole lot of notes other than I wish Pippin would stop talking because he keeps giving the game away. He'd be terrible at poker.
I have so much shit highlighted. So we're gonna have a very different experience, I think.
Okay. Yeah, we are. So we're back to Pippin and Gandalf. You remember 10 or 11 chapters ago, they were writing. Pippin had just looked into the Palantir, which
Mm-hmm.
is not an insidious corporation that's going to steal all of our data, but in fact, Seeing Stone that has no ill intent. It just Sauron just happens to be on the other end of it, which is a problem. So Pippin looked into that, and Gandalf was like, "Ah, shit, we need to go like now." I was gonna rest for a little bit, but I think you might have just started the war. I think
Yep.
he's gonna send his minions out. We gotta go. And then that was punctuated by, as they were galloping merrily along their way, a fucking Nazgul flew overhead. And I believe that the end of that book was Gandalf saying, "Oh shit! Oh shit! Go! Go! Run!"
Yeah, they did
He
take
said
off.
much more eloquently. But yeah. And so we're picking back up there with Gandalf and Pippin riding to Gondor and Minas Tirith. Now you're gonna have to help me out on how the Pelennor fields are, I guess, because they go through a gate into the
So,
field,
yeah.
and then they go
Okay.
through the fields to Minas Tirith.
Okay. So there's a couple of things I would mention about their journey. So before they even reach the first gate, Pippin sees in the mountains, there are giant bonfires lit.
Oh yes,
And you may recall, if you saw the movie, that
yeah.
those are the beacons.
Where were you when the Westfold fell?
Is
Will
not a
Rohan ride to our aid?
Yeah, this is a very big deal in the movie. Gandalf and Pippin. For whatever reason, Denethor doesn't want to request aid in the movie. It's not really clear
Yeah, this is all
why.
about Gondor. Gondor alone.
It's not
We
really clear
stand
why.
or fall all on our own. We're gonna die, and you know what? We're gonna die alone.
I think I know where he got the idea for the character he called Denethor in the movie, but yeah. So in the book, Denethor is not an asshole. Well, he's kind of an asshole, but he's not an incompetent, and he has called for aid. He lit the beacons some time ago because they're expecting to be sieged by Mordor any day now, basically.
Yeah, they even say that, like, well, if you're lighting the beacons when you're already under siege, you kind of
Too late.
missed the boat. Yeah, kind of too late.
Yeah.
Too late.
Yeah.
You need that aid before you're under siege.
Yeah. So Theoden was already prepared to muster the troops. He had already left instructions for that. Basically, immediately, he knew he was going to have to head to Gondor. He didn't wait
Well,
for the
he
beacons.
wasn't just an asshole who was like, well, where were they when the Westfold fell? I don't know if I want to send aid to Gondor, even though me not doing so means we're all gonna die when Gondor falls.
Yeah, because in the book, Theoden knows that where Gondor was when the Westfold fell was protecting his eastern flank.
Yeah.
From Mordor.
Yeah.
So it was,
yeah, Gondor is actually fighting the harder fight here.
It would have done no good for Gondor to march to Rohan's aid, and then leave it open to Mordor.
Good news is we're saving you from Isengard. Yeah. Bad news, we're about to be overrun by all of Mordor from the east. My bad.
That's where Gondor was when the Westfold fell. So Pippin sees the signal fire as Gandalf explains that Denethor is invoking the alliance between Rohan and Gondor. He says it is long since the beacons of the north were lit, and in the ancient days of Gondor they were not needed, for they had the 7 stones.
Yeah, now we only have one of those.
Yeah, Pippin's like, oh yeah, those. I'm going back to sleep.
Yeah, no, never again.
No, Gandalf and Pippin have a lot of weird back and forth. Because Gandalf is like,
And for once, Gandalf isn't yelling at him.
well, I was gonna say it's unclear if Gandalf is actually trying to make Pippin feel better, because he says, "Sleep again and do not be afraid, for you are not going like Frodo to Mordor, but to Minas Tirith, and there you will be as safe as you can be anywhere in these days. If Gondor falls or the ring is taken, then the Shire will be no refuge." And Pippin says, quote, these are the exact words, "You do not comfort me." Thanks for nothing, Gandalf. Yeah, okay, we're all going to die.
This is the safest place on Earth. We could all still die there, but like...
It may not seem very safe, but it is actually the safest place on Earth.
Your chances of dying there are actually lower than dying or being enslaved in the Shire. So really... It's
Think
cool.
about that. Count your blessings, Pippin. So then they eventually arrive at the first checkpoint, I would say, which this is what blocks the way into Pelennor from the west. And Gandalf runs into a crew of guys here. They're soldiers. They are reinforcing the wall. Denethor has not been sitting there crying over Boromir for weeks on end. He has actually been ensuring that all of the fortifications are prepared and in good repair, and that they are ready to withstand the siege. So much so that he's even repairing this wall out in the middle of nowhere. And they have a talk, because Gandalf
talk that it seems like after they part ways, they're still shouting to each other.
There's a motif. I would go so far as to say that this feels like a saga. This part really feels like a saga. Just the way people speak to each other, the word order feels like a saga. Everywhere Gandalf goes, somebody's like, "Oh Jesus, Gandalf's here. We really are gonna die." That's the only time he ever shows up. And Gandalf is really starting to get sick of it. He starts sassing everybody who complains about him being there. And
hey, maybe show up for a birthday or something every now and then. Like you don't always have to show up in our darkest hour. Okay.
He's like, well, I'm getting lit out in the Shire when it's not the darkest hour. I like hanging out with these little weirdos. So, they're having an argument when Pippin sort of wakes up and starts paying attention, and the argument is that while Gandalf is known to Gondor and he knows all the passwords, because Denethor also has a system of you have to know a certain phrase to prove that you have been given permission to enter a certain area. They don't know what the hell Pippin
ID
is.
Badges.
Yeah. If they could make pictures, if you could get like a nice wood block.
There you go.
ID badge. Yeah. No, so they don't know what the hell Pippin is.
He's a man. Isn't he getting bigger? Because he made a joke about it comes later on. He's like, well, I don't think I'll be growing any taller. I might grow fatter though. Ha. But
they take that line and they put it in the movie, by the way. I hate that.
But he drank the tree beard juice, the end
Yes,
water.
he is now about 4 feet tall.
Yeah. Does he not find that strange that he's like, huh, I'm bigger?
No, he's cool with it.
Yeah, okay.
He's taking it wherever he can get it. He's 6'5" in the Shire.
You know how that? Well, yeah. If they had like a steroid or something that made you grow taller, you know how many people be abusing that?
What's the rate
Human
of people
growth
using
hormone,
it?
I guess,
Using it Ozempic. I imagine.
Yeah, that doesn't make you taller. It makes you thinner.
No, but I imagine it'd be the same.
Yeah, and then people would be like, "Oh, just instead of just put down the fork, just have taller parents." Okay, deal, I guess.
Just be more interesting, and your height won't be your defining characteristic.
Absolutely not. I'm getting this basketball scholarship, or I'm dying trying.
So they're having an argument about what Pippin is. He's like, is he a dwarf? We're not really looking to have strangers here, okay? I'm not supposed to let anybody in who I don't know. And Gandalf's like, or he says exactly that we wish for no strangers at this time unless they be mighty men of arms in whose faith and help we can trust. And Gandalf is like, he has passed through more battles and perils than you have in gold, though you be twice his height.
Yeah, he does call this guy out specifically.
He now comes from the storming of Isengard, of which we bear tidings, and there is a great wariness on him. He's a very valiant man. And Pippin's like, whoa, what? No. Okay, look. I'm a hobbit. I'm no more valiant than I absolutely have to be. And do not let Gandalf deceive you. I don't do great deeds. I've done great deeds. I've done great deeds when I could not run away.
Yeah.
And they're like, it's that, wow, he who speaks does not know, and he who does not speak must surely know. This guy must be a great hero. And Gandalf says that he's a halfling, and then the dudes are like, oh, a halfling, that's that thing Boromir and Faramir were talking about. Because everybody knows about the dream that led them to Rivendell. And so now they're looking at Pippin like, oh shit, is this the halfling from the dream? Gandalf's like, not that halfling, but close. And
at some point, Pippin is like, you know what? We own the copyright, so call me a hobbit, because that's what we call ourselves.
And Pippin is like, yeah, I knew Boromir. He died protecting me. And Gandalf's like, shut the fuck up.
Yeah. That was why my note said Pippin needs to shut the fuck up.
Because Gandalf doesn't know, much like Frodo couldn't have known, that Denethor knows Boromir's dead, that all these people know Boromir's dead. Gandalf thinks they're hearing it for the first time. And they are not. Because that's another thing that's a little different from the movie. People aren't getting phone calls all the time about what's going on halfway around the world. News travels at the speed of a fast horse. So it's weird that they would know.
Yeah.
And they keep sassing him. They call him Gandalf Stormcrow.
Yeah, where is that? What is that?
What is that?
Yeah, why is he... Why?
Because whenever he comes, the storm follows.
Okay.
They're associated, and that is a thing that's kind of in the sagas a little bit, is that they associate... It's superstition. It's like, oh, whenever this guy shows up, bad things happen. and they associate it with the guy, even though he's there because he has a job specifically to be where the bad things are happening and make them less bad. But it shows their ignorance. And Gandalf's sick of it.
Feel like he's sick of a lot of things. He's just like, I want to just finish this job and go home.
They're like, Gandalf, I can't believe you're here. And Gandalf's like, not everything I bring is evil. I've got news and counsel. And they're like, is Rohan coming? And he's like, yeah, they're coming. But they fought many battles at your back, and that I was there for most of it.
I helped.
And he said, be vigilant, but for Gandalf Stormcrow, you would have seen a host of foes coming out of Anorian and no riders of Rohan. And you may yet. Fare you well, sleep not. Dick. And then they start riding through Pelennor. So you're confused.
So yeah, how is Pelennor? It sounds like it's like boxed in.
There are walls. I imagine it's not a complete wall around it. I imagine.
No, it sounds like there's like natural
formations
and
it's a hilly area. The River Anduin flows through it, creating a bit of a barrier. And they have walls around the places you could easily move like a wagon or a cart through.
Or perhaps a elephant.
Or perhaps an elephant. And so there's a lot of details about the country of Gondor. So Minas Tirith is the de facto capital of Gondor. But Gondor itself is a nation.
Yeah.
It is not just this city. And so it has multiple territories. It has fiefdoms. There are
a bunch
lords
of which
and
I
nobility.
don't remember, but they're all going to send aid to us.
Yeah.
Except for in the movie where I don't even think they exist. Because this is all Gondor all the time.
They pretend that Minas Tirith, in the movie you would think Gondor and Minas Tirith are one thing. But Gondor is actually a whole nation. There are villages in the mountains. There are villages in the forests. There's villages
they're
in
like
the coast.
Midwest, They've got some people there. And they still get a vote in the Senate. Some might say too many votes.
They still produce things. They guard the ports. And part of the reason that they can't send more help is because Denethor has gotten word of the corsairs that are sailing from the east. And those are the black ships that ultimately... They're in the movie, though they don't really explain what they're doing in the movie.
Yeah, just that ghosts board their ships, and then the ships show up in the Battle of Pelennor Field, and a bunch of spooky ghosts come out, and they kill everyone.
So they have logistic. There's a lot of battle planning that goes on in the book, and when I was a kid, I found this boring. As an adult, I find this much more interesting. It is the sort of thing that I think on a first read people find tedious because they're reading for plot. They want to know what happens to the characters, and they don't know anything about this country, and they don't care. They don't know why they should care yet. But once
Gondor.
Once you understand the significance, it's actually really cool. Like, oh, we're getting a lot of detail here. So
where is the hammer gonna fall hardest? Yo. Right here.
But yeah, the reason they can't so they do have people prepared to fight the corsairs, which leaves Gondor fighting on two fronts, which is exactly what Sauron wanted. There's also, I think the only noble you really need to pay attention to for you, Nate, is Prince Imrahil.
Oh yeah, I saw Prince.
He's going to be important.
Are you a prince? And how does a prince outrank a steward? Or not outrank a steward? A steward outranks a prince. Is he a petty king, Ben?
I don't know his so this is one where I'll say I don't know the nobility family trees of Gondor.
Wow. Too busy focusing on the elves, as always.
The elves are easier because there's a lot less of them because they live a lot longer.
Yeah, no one ever wants to represent.
If you're trying
humans,
to figure out, like,
you need to represent.
Oh, why am I blanking?
Age of Man.
Like, if you're trying to figure out Galadriel's lineage, that's pretty easy.
It's
she's
like two people.
Yeah, she's pretty close to like the Adam and Eve of the elves. If you're trying to figure out like Isildur's descendants, like Jesus,
I want to know Denethor, son of Benethor.
He's Denethor, son of Ecthelion.
Yeah, I
do
knew
know
it was
that
something
much.
else because Gandalf called him that.
No, but so he's describing the different lands and the different peoples that live there, and it gets a little. This is one where you could point to maybe Tolkien race problems. He describes the different kinds of people that live in Gondor.
Yeah,
and
you got the English, you got the Scottish, you got the Irish. I hear there's a thing called a Welsh, but I've never seen or heard of them. I'm pretty sure that's just part of England.
It's interesting. They're further south in Fair Lebanon, which I keep saying Lebanon.
Yeah, Lebanon.
Yeah, there dwelt a hardy folk between the mountains and the sea. They were reckoned men of Gondor, yet their blood was mingled. And there were short and swarthy folk among them, whose sires came more from the forgotten men who housed in the shadow of the hills in the dark years, ere the coming of the kings.
Some of them looked like fish and worshipped Dagon.
So there's a lot baked into that little statement there that some of them came more from the forgotten men who housed in the shadow of the hills in the dark years ere the coming of the kings, ere the conquest of this territory by the men of Numenor after they ruined their own kingdom, is one other way you could say that.
Well, those were the bad Numenorians. And they didn't ruin their kingdom. That was God.
The bad Numenorians ruined the kingdom. The good Numenorians colonized these people.
Exactly.
But beyond them, in the great fief of Belfalas, dwelt Prince Imrahil in his castle of Dol Amroth by the sea, and he was of the high blood, and his folk also, tall men and proud with sea gray eyes. So I will say that's another thing from the sagas. I've been learning Old Norse. There's an adjective, mikil. Mikil means great or tall or like just big. And dude, the amount of people who are called Mikilmadr, which means big man, is insane.
It sounds like that is maybe a prized virtue amongst their people.
Yes,
being a big fucking dude.
Yes. So there is something there in Tolkien discussing. It's a big medieval thing that beauty and goodness, like moral goodness, coincide. They were wrong. That's never been the case.
What?
But that is a thing in the sagas. If somebody's I don't even want to say a good person, because most of the heroes of the sagas you would not consider to be good people by today's moral standards.
Well, I mean, you have to look at through a lens of someone who hates the Romans and the British and just anyone in modern times, right?
It's kind of like every zombie movie you've ever seen, but there's no zombies, and it's just the people are terrible. Like the remaining people just are fighting over scarce resources. If you wander into the woods, you might get killed, but it'll be wolves, not zombies. So yeah, that's a thing. It sounds today. This sounds racist. I don't think he intended it to sound racist. I think he's drawing a lot on the medieval stuff, but the medieval stuff was kind of racist. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's
But guess what? I'm okay with it. So everyone should be okay with it.
I wouldn't be doing my job if I didn't point it out. I think it's a fair criticism if anybody wanted to point to this and say that's a little problematic. Swarthy
On the flip side,
is an adjective that's a little problematic.
On the flip side, it's weird in like Captain America where he has a multi-ethnic team of commandos. So you know, I don't know if there's a comfortable middle ground here, Ben.
Well, it could cut both ways. I'm just saying. I think it sounds like a saga. This is how people talk in the sagas. The conceit of Lord of the Rings that a lot of people forget is that these are supposed to be old texts that Tolkien is translating.
What do you mean supposed to be? Is that not what these are?
No, this is from the Red Book of Westmarch.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm on the same page as you. Okay.
Yeah. But I think it's fair that if you're writing today, you might write this a little more sensitively. We'll see. But they continue riding on. And the other important thing to note about the Pelennor fields, they're not just fields. I understand why it was this way for the movie. They're shooting in New Zealand. Most of the army is CG. They need like just a big open space. In the book, it makes a little more sense that this is the area outside of Gondor or outside of Minas Tirith where all the farms are. This is the area that feeds Minas Tirith. There are tons of farms. There's little towns, and they're kind of empty now.
Yeah.
Pippin will eventually see a bunch of people going, like carts, huge wagon trains going south.
Yeah, because they're going off to Helm's Deep with all the women and children.
Denethor is evacuating the city of all non-combatants. Because again, he's not just this weird, crazy tomato-eating monster.
I forgot about the tomato. Oh God! How did I forget? That's like a defining thing that he did. You just hear it. You watch him, and then you hear it. You just hear it in his mouth as he eats it.
Yeah, you gotta cut them. To this day, I have to cut cherry tomatoes in half before I eat it.
Oh my God!
What an awful fruit. So it's populated. Like when the orcs come through, it's going to look like the end of the world. And they're getting their first full view of Gondor now, or Minas Tirith. I'm making the mistake.
Yeah.
And they're going to ride up the various circles of Minas Tirith. I think the movie does about as good a job of visualizing it. Tolkien's description.
And that's supposed to be like a fort. Like not originally meant to be a city.
Yeah, that's why it's so crazy protected. Like that's why there's 7 rings of defense leading ever higher.
Maybe we should have done that for Osgiliath. Maybe we needed 7 rings of defense.
When they built Osgiliath, Sauron wasn't there. Mordor wasn't a problem. Mordor wasn't a thing.
Was it? So Mordor wasn't a terrifying land of shadow a long time ago. So, okay, so you look at Mordor, and it's like a ring of mountains in like the shape of a sea, like not at all what you would expect mountains to look like if they were naturally
these mountains
formed.
Probably didn't form naturally. Yeah.
Did Sauron do that, or was it like that before? And then follow-up question: if it was like that before, why didn't they just put Gondor in there? You got protection on 3 sides.
It was probably like that before.
Okay.
A lot of Morgoth's Morgoth's big fortress is circled by mountains. The Valinor is also encircled by mountains with just a small gate left open.
Why?
Because the gods were at war with each other. Morgoth knew he was gonna have to defend from the Valar, and the Valar were thinking about defense against Morgoth.
Oh, okay. I thought you meant war with each other, like they were infighting or something.
No, not the Valar. Well, I
Gotcha.
It depends. Do you consider Morgoth a Valar? He was originally a Vala.
Yeah, that tracks.
So he raised a lot of places like this to defend against his enemies. I think the reason the men of Gondor didn't go for Mordor would probably be aesthetic reasons. I think you got to keep in mind. So here's the perspective of the guys coming from Numenor, getting ready to settle this new land. They have with them basically space age technology compared to the cavemen who populate this land. The elves.
So they were bringing civilization to these people by colonizing them.
You could argue that. I don't think they really cared. I don't think they felt a need to justify themselves at all. It was a very might makes right kind of thing.
Yeah.
I need space. Look at all this space. Get out of the way. But there also, Tolkien describes it as there also was plenty of unoccupied space, though. We'll see when Theoden tries to get to Gondor that there are some people who have a different opinion about that. They are coming to these shores. From their perspective, the elves are going west. They're leaving. Sauron was on Numenor when the ocean came. So he's got to be dead. And I don't know how much they knew about his exact nature at that time, and that he would come back. But that one did actually take a lot out of Sauron. That's the death where he lost the ability to take fair form, and so it did fuck him up pretty good. And I just don't think who was going to fight him? The dwarves? Nah.
Yeah, but you're men. I mean, you're eventually just going to start fighting each other if there's no one else left to fight.
They knew that other men would try, but they were so technologically advanced that they didn't really care. I don't think they didn't anticipate a civil war, and they still haven't had one.
So, in the time since Sauron has fallen, after the last alliance, why did no one do anything with Mordor? Because it sounds like they just kind of
they went in and they started building a bunch of towers, but they didn't have the people to defend it, and Sauron took those towers. Frodo saw them as he was walking into Mordor.
Yeah, and that's what Minas Morgul is.
Yeah, so they did build stuff out that way, but I think they overextended. Because that's another thing Tolkien talks about is like, as it's in this chapter, I forget who says it. I think Gandalf says it. Like, as impressive as this city is, as amazing as these people seem, because they really do. He paints a very flattering picture of Gondor. They seem quite advanced. Everything's very clean. Everything's very refined. They have fancy food. They have fancy buildings, fancy weapons and armor. The guards of the inner circle wear mithril helms.
Yeah, that was pretty impressive.
So, like, outside of the elves, this is the most impressive civilization on the planet. But it's in decline. It's less impressive than it used to be. And that's...
Boy, I feel that.
Yeah, really. There's a couple of quotes I've highlighted that we will get to. where Gandalf speaks directly to my soul. And I think that was the problem, is they did expand into Mordor, but they were overextended. They don't have the people. The long life that was granted to the Númenóreans is wearing off. As they do absorb the surrounding cultures also influence them. And that's where I think it gets maybe a little problematic.
Yeah, that's the real problem.
In that
other cultures.
Tolkien does sort of
Disgusting.
describe that the other cultures are
English was a perfect language and culture before the fucking French came over and ruined everything.
Well, it's like what Faramir said about Rohan is that Rohan is it's the Beowulf, the Anglo-Saxon culture. The big man is the best. War is a sport to be won, and that has infected Gondor. We're not sitting here. We're less like the elves, sitting around with all the resources in the world, all the time in the world, focusing on perfecting our little crafts and projects. We're becoming more like dudes who know they're going to be dead by 40, who just want to drink as much as they can before they go.
Well, Ben, let me ask you a really important question. Where the hell were the elves when the Westfold fell?
Wester.
They got the fuck out of here.
Getting the fuck out of there. Actually, they were besieged. if you want the honest truth. Both Lorien and Rivendell are kind of trapped. If Frodo doesn't get that ring, all those elves are getting murdered too. Yeah.
So going back to the stones, the Palantirs.
Yeah.
Sauron
is this
has
be a two-part
maybe. Sauron has one, Saruman had one, which now I guess Gandalf doesn't have it anymore. He gave it to Aragorn, right? He was like, hide this away so I don't know where the fuck it is, because otherwise I want to look into it. I can't remember. But then Denethor has one, and then you said that the elves have two of them.
Yes. So Sauron has one, Saruman had one, Denethor has one, the elves have two. That's 5.
Huh. How the hell did the elves get them?
The elves made them.
Oh, fancy, but you gave us 7.
Feanor specifically made them.
Oh, that guy.
Yeah.
The Kinslayer. Yeah,
he's known for a couple of things. I saw
he's
somebody,
known for a couple of things.
Somebody posted you know who Timothy McVeigh is, right?
Sounds familiar.
The Unabomber.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So before he was the Unabomber, he was actually a brilliant mathematician with a lot of published work. And somebody cited Timothy McVeigh's theories because they were good. They were good. I mean, his mathematical theories in a formal publication, and they put in the footnote, they're like McVeigh whatever footnote. In the footnote, it says, more famous for other work.
I remember seeing that, yeah.
That's Feanor. Loved his work with the Seeing Stones. You might not know him from that, though. You might have heard of him for other things. Worked really hard to get into Middle Earth and then died like 5 minutes after he got there. Couldn't have happened to a nicer guy.
Can't wait to hear about that one.
He got into Middle Earth and then a Balrog hit him like a truck.
But he'll come back eventually, right? That's how that works.
He'll come back eventually, but I don't know if Mandos is letting him out of there for a while. You're gonna have to think about what he did for a couple ages. But yeah, so they make it
Anyway,
into
we're
the city.
going into
That's
Minas
the
Tirith.
stones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they're winding their way up to the Citadel.
Yes, and he's warning Gandalf's warning Pippin.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's the reason for the note. He's like, all right, he's gonna try and extract information from you because like you're you. You don't know when to stop talking. Don't mention anything about Frodo, obviously. It should be obvious to like any other member of our fellowship, but you have to remind you. Also, don't mention Aragorn. He's like, "Oh, what's wrong with Strider?" Well, genius. This guy just lost his son, who is going to inherit his position someday, and his son was traveling with a guy who is going to take his job by becoming king.
Yeah. Okay. So then I'm gonna read some of this because it's funny.
He's like, how have you not pieced this together yet?
Yeah. Be careful with your words, Master Peregrine. This is no time for hobbit pertness. Theoden is a kindly old man. Denethor is of another sort, proud and subtle, a man of far greater lineage and power, though he is not called a king. But he will speak to you, and he will question you much, since you can tell him of his son Boromir. He loved him greatly, too much perhaps. And say nothing about Aragorn, unless you must. Why? What's wrong with Strider? Didn't he mean to come here anyway? Yeah, and then Gandalf goes, "See, Master Pippin, there is no time." He literally says that. "See, Master Pippin, there is no time to instruct you now in the history of Gondor. Though it might have been better if you had learned something of it when you were still bird's nesting and playing truant in the woods of the Shire. Do as I bid. It is scarcely wise to bring news of the death of his heir to a mighty lord, and then to speak overmuch of the coming of one who will, if he comes, claim kingship. Is that enough?" "Kingship?" Pippin said, amazed. "Wait, are you telling me Strider? That guy's
Pippin,
a king?"
I don't know where you've been this entire journey, Pippin, but like,
Wait. All those
damn
guards
it.
are wearing the livery of Elendil. Strider's always yelling about Elendil. Is that what it meant when he was screaming Elendil? All those times we were fighting orcs. Does it have something to do with his magic sword? Because that's the only thing Pippin knows. He has a magic sword. And he lets that slip.
He does let that slip. Yeah. After their talk, he's like, okay, well, you didn't mention him directly, but the way he talked, he knows that there's another man. And after leaving Moria, Boromir was not the guy leading the party. It was this other guy who you didn't really talk much about who has a magic sword. So,
yeah, why would Boromir
good
have
job,
allowed that?
idiot.
Like, he's asking himself questions like Pippin, like, why would Boromir have allowed a lesser man to command him? He wouldn't, Pippin. I knew Boromir. Not the kind of guy he was. But Denethor is very clever. And unlike being absolutely
he's not eating a tomato.
unlike the movie, he is sitting there holding the broken horn of Gondor, Boromir's horn. But
Type
he's
in
not.
Denethor in YouTube. First thing comes up: eating tomatoes.
But he's not. He does mention that that's like his main concern. He doesn't really care how the battle goes anymore. He's just kind of going through the motions of defending the city. There's nothing worth defending anymore. Faramir. Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to get out of bed for Faramir, you know. But at the same time, he's using that as like a trick to guilt Pippin into giving him more information. And,
which he does. He
yeah, which
quizzes
he
him for like
definitely
an
does.
hour.
So Pippin does the thing where he offers his service. Unlike the movie, this is Gandalf praises this. Gandalf's like, yeah, now you're in. Now we got a man on the inside. Good job, Pippin. So he
I mean, because
commands-
what else were you gonna do, Pippin? You're just gonna lay in this house all day if it weren't for that. So might as well be useful.
He commands that chairs be brought in for his guests and food, and that they tell him all they can of Boromir and how he died.
Valiantly?
He did. It's not quite as epic as the movie, but he got riddled with arrows trying to save Pippin. And Pippin's like, no, he didn't save us, but I really appreciated the effort.
Yeah, he does say it. Now, he may have failed, but that doesn't make me think any less of him.
It's weird that I mentioned it. It's weird that I chose to focus in on that point.
Yeah. Your son's a failure, but, like, he's cool in my book.
There's also a little, like, Gandalf code switching goes on. So, like, the people of Rohan talk like they're from Beowulf. The people of Gondor talk like they're from Shakespeare. And Gandalf just sort of matches their tone, whereas Pippin talks like
He's from the country.
Yeah, some modern day British guy, or like British guy from like the 60s or the 40s, I guess. So Gandalf's like, or Denethor's like, I can give you guys an hour. Tell me as much as you can about Boromir for an hour, and then I got to go back to planning the war, Gandalf. Remember we talked about that the last time you were here and you didn't seem all that interested? No, suddenly you're here and you're interested. Oh, isn't that great? But yeah, I got to plan that war, so I'll give you an hour, and then maybe we can talk later. And Gandalf's like, I would hope so. I didn't ride, 3 days nonstop to talk about Boromir. And
You should. Everyone should ride and talk about Boromir.
So their
friends show up. I want them to talk about Boromir. Did you tell him about the part where he dug barehanded like 9 feet of snow?
Oh Jesus, no one could plow through snow like Boromir. It was I'll be honest, I was just blown away. I'm like, no gloves? No shovel?
Yeah, you know what? We called him Bro Ramir.
Yeah,
he was my bro.
Yeah.
We didn't really like the part where he was like chattering his teeth and muttering to himself. That was a little weird.
I was going to write a book about him called The Sigmarillion. I didn't make that
up. It's better to just pretend that you did, though.
No, so Denethor and Gandalf are staring daggers at each other this whole time. They're playing a game that Pippin cannot comprehend. And I'm going to read this.
Didn't even know that Aragorn was king.
No. I'm going to read this paragraph here because it paints a very different picture of both Denethor and Gandalf than you would see in the movie. Denethor looked indeed much more like a great wizard than Gandalf did, more kingly, beautiful, and powerful, and older. Yet by a sense other than sight, Pippin perceived that Gandalf had the greater power and the deeper wisdom, and a majesty that was veiled, and he was older, far older. How much older, Pippin wondered. And then he thought of how odd it was that he had never thought about it before. Treebeard had said something about wizards, but even then he had not thought of Gandalf as one of them. What was Gandalf? In what far time and place did he come into the world, and when would he leave it? And then his musings broke off, and
A
he
few
saw
years
that,
from now, or less.
and he saw that Denethor and Gandalf still looked at each other in the eye, as if reading the other's mind. But it was Denethor who withdrew his gaze first.
Oh, he blinks, so that means he loses.
And Denethor says, so this conversation started with Gandalf saying, it's weird that you want to talk to Pippin when I'm sitting here and Saruman's overthrown and Isengard's overthrown. I thought you might want to talk about that. Denethor's like, I already know about
Boromir.
that. And then Gandalf glares at him, and he glares at Gandalf, and Pippin has this thought. And then Denethor goes, yes, for though the stones be lost, they say, still the lords of Gondor have keener sight than lesser men, and many messages come to them.
The stones are definitely lost.
Definitely
Gandalf.
lost. Because
there are no stones here.
Well, Pippin may be dropping some information. Denethor fucked up there. Yeah, no, I know about Saruman. Oh? I mean, shit.
Yeah, everyone knows about Saruman.
Yeah. I got
Saruman's he's like the neighborhood bike. Everyone knows when he gets his ass kicked.
Okay. Pippin's like, wait, Gandalf, do you live forever? Have you lived forever? Wait, you've been an old man for like 200 years. How does that work? You're not an old man, are you?
You're piecing it together, Pippin.
Yeah. And so Pippin gives him the spiel, and Denethor's like, okay, I'm having a war council. You guys, you go back to your room or whatever. He says that Gandalf can come to all the war councils he wants. He hopes Gandalf will forgive this old man just wanting to hear news about his dead son. I just really hope you can, I know Gandalf, I should be more concerned with military matters, but family's everything. Except Faramir. God.
Yeah, I was going to say, well, where's Faramir? Who?
Who cares? He is a little bit like that. He does say he wished Faramir had gone to Rivendell instead of Boromir.
Yeah.
But
does
Gandalf's
he insist that Boromir go, or is that the movies I'm thinking?
Boromir insisted that Boromir go.
Okay, that's what I thought, because Gandalf did mention that. I couldn't remember if they were both wanting Boromir to go or
no,
what,
because Denethor doesn't know it's about the ring.
Yeah.
As far as he's concerned, his sons want to go visit the elves because they had a dream. And he's about to be invaded by an army the likes of which the planet Earth has never seen.
So why don't we keep our big, strong alpha Chad here?
Yeah.
And we send off his
send
his
the
brother.
nerd.
Yeah. Sounds like but then they would have died in the mountain when no one was there to dig them out from that snowdrift.
Faramir could dig. Just because he reads book doesn't mean he can't dig. Everybody thinks these days that just because a guy reads a lot of books means he can't dig in the snow. And I'll admit, Nate, it snowed a lot this year, and I had to dig out my parking space. And I'll admit, yeah, that put my back out of commission for like a week. But I'm not representative. Back in when I was Faramir's age, I'd have shoveled all that snow.
Faramir's age.
When I was your age, I was shoveling snow uphill both ways. But yeah, Gandalf calls him out, and he's like, I know what you're doing here, right? Like an old man's grief. He's like, you wield even grief like a cloak. I know what this hour of questioning was all about. Then Denethor kind of looks at him and he's like, if you understand it, then be content. Pride would be folly that disdained help and counsel at need. But you deal out such gifts according to your own designs. And yet the Lord of Gondor is not to be made the fool of other men's purposes, however worthy. And to him there is no purpose higher in the world as it now stands than the good of Gondor, and the rule of Gondor, my lord, is mine, and no other man's, unless the king should come again. Gandalf's
What are the odds of that?
Unless the king should come again. Well, my Lord Steward, it is your task to keep some kingdom still against that event which few now look to see. In that task you shall have all the aid that you are pleased to ask. But I will say this, the rule of no realm is mine, neither Gondor nor any other, great or small, but all worthy things that are in peril as the world now stands, those are my care. And for my part, I shall not wholly fail of my task, though Gondor should perish. If anything passes through this night that can still grow fair or bear fruit and flower again in the days to come, for I am also a steward. Did you not know? And by that he means, I will help you do whatever it takes to keep this kingdom safe for when that king comes back, if he ever does, Just,
yeah, what are the odds that
what are the odds?
Come back?
But also, just to let you know, Lord of Gondor, if your whole fucking city burns to the ground, I'd consider it a win if anything survives. Because, my priority isn't Gondor. It's literally everything. I don't have a kingdom or an army. But you know what I do have? This sword. I cut a Balrog's head off with it. Okay? That was Tuesday for me.
I chased him down. Balrog was running in terror.
That was my Tuesday. I died, got better, came back, took over Saruman's tower. That was Thursday. Like, don't you talk to me about you having a lot to do, okay? Don't you talk to me about you being busy, okay? If you haven't literally died, I don't care.
Yeah, well, how many sons have you lost, Gandalf? Checkmate.
Less than you? There is a lot of Gandalf going, God, I need Faramir to get here soon. But yeah, and then Pippin asks Gandalf, he's like, so how did I do?
Oh yeah, like, Pippin pledges his service. Oh yeah, we already mentioned that. Yeah.
He's like, how did I do? And he's like, you're okay.
Yeah, you didn't fuck up as much as I thought you would. So we'll call it a draw?
He's like, yeah, just be, that's a pretty serious thing you agreed to. Just be careful about that. And then he fell silent and sighed. Well, no need to brood on what tomorrow may bring. For one thing, tomorrow will be certain to bring worse than today, for many days to come. And there is nothing more that I can do to help it.
Okay, bye.
And that pretty much sums up my adult life. Actually, a good part of my life. Most of my life.
Well, I've done all I can do, and it's going to keep sucking, so...
Yeah, I mean, the one thing we could be sure of is that today is the best it's going to be for a while. And every day after this, for like...
Yeah, I do feel like we peaked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Every day after this, for the next 100 years, is just going to be a little bit worse. Until, at some point in the middle, civilization's going to collapse. And that's going to be a bad day. Not as bad as the next day, though. Because you weren't hungry yesterday. You're hungry today. And then this was a good day because you didn't know what human flesh tasted like that day. Now you do. So that's a little worse. But then we managed to kill the raiders that kept stealing our vegetables, and we harvested a crop this year. And it's on the way back. We're getting civilization back.
We hit the bedrock, and now we can start climbing back up.
Yep. And I related to that. Yeah, that was a not one of the big quotes you often see people pulling from Lord of the Rings, but I related. And I don't know, do you want to try to squeeze in all of Pippin's big day out?
That is what I thought of calling this chapter, actually. Pippin's big day out. What are the highlights? Because for me, it was like we're walking around, we're talking about some stuff, and then we're walking around with his kid, and we're talking about some stuff. And we're finding that reinforcements have arrived. It's just, God, we were kind of hoping for a couple thousand, and you're a few hundred.
All right, yeah, we can hammer this out. So I'll tell you the highlights. Okay, so Gandalf goes off to war meetings all day, and Pippin's on his own. And Gandalf is like, before you do anything, you check on Shadowfax, and you make sure he's doing more than well. He's worth 10 of you. But after that, the day is yours. And so Pippin's a guard in the service now, and they sent a dude to go like show him around, teach him the passwords, do all this stuff. And they send him fucking the chillest man that ever lived.
Yep.
Baragond, son of Baranor. I forgot all about this dude until I read the chapter this time. I don't know how. He's amazing. You could write a whole Legends and Lattes style book about Baragond. So he's like, I gotta be honest, Pippin. I've never seen a halfling, barely even heard of a halfling. I need to know everything about you. You're hanging out with wizards. You're like very small. You smoke. That's so cool. Tell me everything about you, and everything about him. And he's like, well, I've known Gandalf all my life. I traveled with him quite a bit. And I gotta say, I don't know if anybody really knows that guy except maybe Aragorn. Who's Aragorn? Fuck!
Yeah. Don't worry about
it. He says he was a man who was with us. Moving on. So he's like, shit, I'm sorry, Pippin. You're supposed to be asking me questions. Is there anything you need to know about the city? He's like, there's a couple of things I need to know about the city, Baragon. Meals. Where are they? What time? They're a dining room. He's like, oh, have you not eaten? He's like, okay, technically I ate with the king this morning, but like if you eat with the king, you're not going to enjoy it. Have you seen that guy eat a tomato?
I had to start singing just to distract myself.
I had to sing a really sad song about the death of that tomato. Yeah, I had breakfast, but it was like a shitty breakfast. Okay. It was like, I just couldn't, I couldn't, my head wasn't in the game, so I don't even know if I'm digesting this. It might just come right out. What else you got? He was like, well, we're a city preparing for siege, and rationing's pretty strict. You're one of the guards. Typically we're doing like a 3 meals a day thing, and you've already had one. And he's like, okay, what's the Jesus Baragon, what's the bar situation? I've been looking for an inn since I got into this town.
Yeah, I was like, what the fuck are you talking about?
I haven't seen a single alehouse.
Are you fucking kidding me?
Since I got into this
what place. Are you talking about? I haven't found an inn since. Do you understand what's about to happen?
They call them, look, in Rohan Baragon, they call these things mead halls. Not a fucking drop of mead in anyone as far as I could see. Tell you what, And yeah, I know. Look, you're all gonna die. Everybody's being besieged. We're all worried about like the supplies and the rations and everything. It's like, where, where can Daddy Drinky? Okay. And Berrigan's like, I see. So you're an old campaigner, aren't you? They say that a man who goes warring afield looks ever to the next hope of food and drink. I'm not a traveled man myself, not like you, Pippin. I haven't seen shit, but I can tell you're a guy who's seen shit. Because Baragon's just cool. You know, he knows this guy's a little weirdo, maybe an alcohol problem. Though to be fair,
Pippin, when he runs out,
Pippin is also going through nicotine withdrawal, so he's trying to drink to cancel out the nicotine withdrawal. He's like, so you haven't had anything to eat? They haven't given you a drink? He's like, all right, yeah, they did have wine at breakfast. Hear me out, Baragon. Hear me out, man. What about second breakfast wine? I gotta get brunch drunk, okay? The whole world's falling apart. And Baragon's like, you know what they say? At the table, small men may do greater deeds. But you've eaten about as well as anyone in the Citadel. But there might be something I can do. He's like, we do have regular meals, but there might be something I can do for you. Let's go hit up the quartermaster, the guy who does the supplies. Sweet shit, horse. I gotta go with Shadowfax. Where's Shadowfax? Gandalf will literally kill me. I think literally this time.
He's been thinking about it for a while.
if I don't take care of Shadowfax. So they go and they look at Shadowfax. Shadowfax is ready to go another 3 days. He's like, I don't care. I want to run. And Baragon's looking at this horse. He's like, this horse is fucking insane. This is amazing. Where did you get this horse?
Yeah, I love it.
He's like, oh, this is King Theoden's best horse. Gandalf took it. I don't think Theoden was very happy about it, but now he doesn't care so much. Shadowfax, you good? You need anything? You got oats, you got apples, and Shadowfax is like, if you're going out, I could use a few things. And Pippin's like, okay, I'll do that. And then Shadowfax like lets out like the equivalent of a horse roar.
Yeah, it shakes the stable.
And Pippin's like, I know, I got you. And Baragon's like, wow, you rode that thing? He's like, yeah, if he lets you, you ride him. But he chooses you, Baragon. You remember that, okay? They do hit up the quartermaster guy, and I forget. Let me see what Baragon says to that guy. He goes, "This is the storehouse and buttery of my company." Greetings, Targon, he called through the hatch. It is early yet, but there is a newcomer that the Lord has taken into his service. He has ridden long and far with a tight belt and has had sore labor this morning, and he is hungry. Give us what you have. And he winks at Pippin.
Now, he's already eaten this morning, but, like, hear me out.
They get bread, butter, cheese, and apples, the last of the winter store, wrinkled but sound and sweet, and a leather flagon of new drawn ale. They put it all in a literal. Yeah. They put it all in a literal picnic basket because Baragon fucking rules, and they go up to the battlement where they just eat and drink like the rest of the morning. And
best job ever. What's your assignment? Oh, I'm gonna hang out with a little dude. We're gonna eat and drink all morning. Fuck yeah.
And So it's another one of these moments that is littered throughout the book where Baragon's like, so tell me about your adventures. And he's like, oh, geez, Baragon. Okay. So everything was going pretty well. We get attacked by the Black Riders, right? That was scary. Frodo gets stabbed. He's dying, turning into a wraith. We go to the elves. They fix him up, hanging out there for a while. We walk up a mountain. Mountain doesn't like us being there. We got to go down the mountain. Boromir shoveled like a fucking champ, though. And
Goddamn right he did.
We go through the mines of Moria, a bunch of orcs. Somebody, not me, knocked a thing into a well, caused all the orcs to come fight us. Killed a bunch of orcs. Frodo gets stabbed again. It happened to that guy a lot. Doesn't know how to dodge. But he's wearing mithril armor. You know about that. You got hats. And then we fight the orcs. We kill a bunch of them. They stab Frodo. Then they run away. They're Balrog. Balrog's a shadow demon. It's like 20 feet tall, has a whip and a flaming sword. You'd know it if you saw it. And then Gandalf fights that. You know Gandalf. And Gandalf fights that for a while. He dies. Or we thought he died. He didn't die right then. He falls down. He chases the Balrog back up the mountain. Then he dies after killing the Balrog. But he got better. You saw him. And then...
now he wears white. That's what he does.
I watched Boromir die fighting a bunch of orcs. I tried to help. I got little legs. And I get kidnapped by orcs, but Boromir really tried. I mean, he did his best. I feel somewhat obligated to him. And that's kind of why I'm here. So I get carried away by orcs, tortured a little bit. A lot of it, actually. There was a lot of torture. It was 2 weeks ago, but it feels like 5 years. And then I got out. I think I tried to seduce an orc. Failed. Got lost in the woods. Giant tree people. Have you seen them, Ents? So there's giant tree people, right? I hooked up with them. And we got involved in a little bit of a tussle with the White Wizard. Saruman used to be in charge of the wizards. We kicked his ass, took over his tower. Gandalf showed up, started riding back. Here there was a battle at some place called Helm's Deep. We were riding. Then there was a Nazgul that flies on a dragon or whatever. That scared the shit out of us. And I ran out of tobacco somewhere in the middle of all that. Now I'm here. I mean, long story short, now I'm here. And Baragon kind of like dropped an apple halfway through that. And he's like, oh, I forgot to tell you about the elves. Galadriel, the elf witch you guys are all afraid of. She gave me this belt. That's a whole other story though, Baragon. You don't want to hear that. And Baragon replies, I will not hide from you, Master Peregrine, which I love. That's an old-timey way of, look, I'm not going to lie. I almost took you as one of our children, a lad of 9 summers or so. Yet you have endured perils and seen marvels that few of our graybeards could boast of. I thought it was the whim of our Lord to take him a noble page after the manner of kings of old, they say. But I see it is not so, and I must beg your pardon. Please pardon my foolishness. I do, said Pippin. Though you are not far wrong, I'm little more than a boy in the reckoning of my own people. It'll be 4 years until I come of age. I'm only 26. And he's like, whoa. So then they watch a bunch of people evacuated, and he learns about Denethor's evacuation plan. A lot of old English words that Tolkien thinks are things people would know without looking up. Quick, Nate, what is a buyer?
A buyer?
A buyer. B-Y-R-E-S.
So, you got sellers, and they sell things to buyers.
Well, no. See, a buyer is where you put your kine. What are kine?
Kine is the thing that after you're done chewing it up, you throw it up.
Kind of close. It's a cow. It's cows. It's the plural of cows in Old English.
Okay. See, I got it.
And wains. They're moving a lot of wains.
That sounds like one of your Pennsylvania Dutch things.
Honestly, yeah, it's a cart. Yeah, you did pretty good. But yeah, he talks about the plan, how he wants everybody out of here by tomorrow. He explains that Osgiliath used to be the capital, that they lost it. There was one part I thought was funny. You know how, like, all through the Fellowship of the Ring, Pippin's joking about the One Ring, he's joking about the Black Riders, and Aragorn's like, shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
Don't. We're in the middle of nowhere, dark woods. Have you ever heard, like, speak of the devil and he shall appear? Like, don't talk about evil if you don't want to summon evil. And now Baragon mentions the Black Riders, and Pippin, like, basically chokes, and he's like, yeah, those guys. He's like, well, you seem to know something of them. And he's like, I know of them, but I will not speak of them now so near. Pippin finally learned. He got that one through his brain.
Yeah, I was told that from a guy who I just learned was king. Shit, I shouldn't have told you that.
Yep. And Baragon does a little author insert work here where he explains that based on what they're hearing happened at Isengard and everything, it's pretty clear that they are caught in the midst of something Sauron's been planning for centuries. They are surrounded from all sides, and though it doesn't make a lot of sense because Gondor is in decline. Actually, Baragon's the one who tells him Gondor is in decline. Though it doesn't make a lot of sense because it might seem like Gondor is falling apart. He's got a grudge, Sauron. He's got a grudge.
He's going to hit us the hardest.
Yep. And he's going to do it just because he's pissed.
He's going to attack everywhere all at once. The elves, the dwarves, men in other areas, but he hates us most of all. Dick.
And
all the people he's mad with that are still alive, they ain't men.
No, and he said, and if anything, we should be mad at him. He tricked us into fighting God that one time.
Yeah.
I'm going to say we call it even, right? Like, yeah, cut off your ring. Well, first we kicked his ass, then we cut off the ring. Yeah, I'd say we're even, but he doesn't think so. And they muse a little bit about, he tells him a little bit about Faramir. Baragon's like, a lot of people think that just because Faramir knows how to read, that he's not also tough. He's tough. I'd vote for him. I like Faramir. He's a good guy, and I think if Faramir comes back, everything's gonna be okay. And Pippin's like, I don't know who that is or what you're talking about.
And I probably won't know until I meet him.
And
even then, I'll probably still not know his identity for a while, because I'm thick as hell.
Baragon's like, hey, you want to come get lunch with me and the boys? And Pippin's like, well, let's see if Gandalf's back. I'm sure he might want to talk to me if he's back. And, oh, nope, he's not here. Didn't leave a note. That's fine. Yeah, let's go talk to your boys. So, unfortunately, a couple of rumors had spread in Pippin's once Pippin got in the city. There had already been much talk in the Citadel. There had already been much talk in the Citadel about Mithrandir's companion and his long closeting with the Lord, and rumor declared that a prince of the halflings had come out of the north to offer allegiance to Gondor and 5,000 swords. And some said that when the riders came from Rohan, each would bring behind him a halfling warrior, small maybe, but doughty. Though Pippin had regretfully to destroy this hopeful tale, he could not be rid of his new rank. Only fitting, men thought, to one befriended by Boromir and honored by the Lord Denethor. And they thanked
He
him
is
for coming among
definitely
them.
a prince. Only a prince would say he's not one.
That it is like that. Pippin is trying to dispel the rumors, and then Baragon's like, "Dude, Pippin, I'd love to hang out with you more. I actually do have a job, so I got to go to work. But you know who else is cool? My kid. You should hang out with my kid. He's about your size." And Pippin's like, "Well, I'll go see if Gandalf left a note for me. And if he hasn't, maybe I'll go hang out with your kid." And he comes back, no note from Gandalf. Gandalf hasn't been there. He doesn't care. He goes back to Shadowfax. He feeds Shadowfax like the leftovers from his lunch. Shadowfax eats them, though he seems to have all the oats he wants. He's the only horse in the stable. And then he goes and he meets Baragon's son. And Baragon's son is like, "I bet I could kick your ass." And Pippin's like, "Oh, yeah? You think you could kick my ass? You think you could kick my ass, you little piece of shit. I tell you what, I've killed people, kid. I've literally, not figuratively, killed people. And I'll kill you if you lay a fucking hand on me."
and then a fight, and then they're about to fight, and he's like, "Yeah, I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
I'm kidding. I'm fucking with you, kid. I don't care.
Yeah.
He does. It gets really weird and aggressive.
It does. Yes.
It's I wager I could stand you on your head or lay you on your back. And he's like, "I said that to an orc once. Maybe you could if I let you. And maybe I could do the same to you. You know, we know some wrestling tricks in my little country where, let me tell you, I am considered uncommonly large and strong, and I have never allowed anyone to stand me on my head. So if it came to a trial and nothing else would serve, I might have to kill you. For when you are older, you will learn that folk are not always what they seem. And though you may have taken me for a soft stranger lad and easy prey, let me warn you, I am not. I am a halfling, hard, bold, and wicked." No, he said it with a squeaky halfling voice.
Yeah, and then the kid clenches his fist. And he's like, "No, I'm kidding. I know your dad."
I'm fucking with you, kid. I know your dad. Yeah. And then they hang out.
Yeah.
And then this is where they see all the vassals of Denethor coming in. Well, not Denethor's vassals, but the guy he's holding the chair for.
Yeah. Where were these guys when the Westfold fell, Ben?
Presumably further east. Takes a while to get to the Westfold. You also have to like walk past an army of orcs holding the other half of Osgiliath to get there. They only control half of Osgiliath. It's separated by the river, and they only have the part that's on their side.
Where the fuck is the Westfold?
The Westfold. Let me look at my map here. Where's my map? That would actually be like closer to Isengard.
Yeah, that's what I thought. So it hasn't fallen now. Yeah, we did it.
You remember they went further east to Helm's Deep in the movie? So
yeah, that's true.
It's a nightmare. But yeah, Pippin comes back to the room. Gandalf's still not there.
Wait,
no note.
The Westfold is a region of Rohan that was east of the Gap of Rohan, contained Helm's Deep. So in the book, the Westfold never fell.
I think it's just because he thought it sounded cool, right? Like you know,
Where
half
were
the
you
quotes
in the
movie.
West? Where were you in the Westfall's Val? It hasn't. Helm's Deep is there. You guys have people manning that.
No, that's Peter Jackson's brilliant thing. He's like, if I take a quote from somewhere else in the book and just insert it into another part of the story, it'll sound like something Tolkien said. And it won't make any goddamn sense, but no one knows what the hell he's talking about ever anyway. Because it's all weird and old Englishy.
We did it.
It worked. He won every Oscar. It was the best movie ever made.
What else? Anything else? I think that's the end.
It ends with Gandalf coming back to the room. Pippin
And
wakes
telling
up.
Pippin that he wanted to be there alone with his thoughts and to go back to bed.
Yeah. It is kind of like, it's kind of like that there's a character who not a good person, needed to be punished but gets punished way too hard, and now it's circled and I feel bad for them. But he does mutter to himself, "Oh, I wish Faramir were here. He's the coolest." Yeah, the key takeaways from this chapter are Denethor's definitely been using a Palantir. Gandalf knows. Denethor knows that Gandalf knows.
What are you talking about?
Denethor suspects that Gandalf has found the heir to the throne, and Gandalf knows that Denethor knows that.
And meanwhile, Pippin was just eating second breakfast. And
Pippin was hanging out with the boys. There's not a single bar in the city, and Pippin still got drunk. So that is we're back, baby. That's an hour and a half episode, about 30 pages. Right. You totally could have read the whole chapter in the time it took us to do this podcast.
But did.
Would you have had as much fun? I don't think so. All right, talking about Tolkien's back.
Goddamn
and
right.
It's closing in on. This season's going to be crazy. So much is going to happen. And then the next season, and then the Silmarillion, which I don't even know how we're going to divide that. But yeah, so always remember, Kine was the plural of coup, which is not a word we use anymore, and I don't know why Tolkien did.
Well, because fuck the French. Everything was fine, and then the Normans came over.
Hang on, I got a thing. I got a fact that I looked up that doesn't have anything to do with the story, but because I've been taking that Old Norse class, I recognized that Kine looked like an inflected noun. And so I looked up the Old English, and it was the single is ku, which is cow, and the plural is kine, which is cattle or cows. Swine is the plural of Sioux, which is pig.
Why did swine stick around?
Did swine stick around? The best theory I found was that because people used it as an insult. It survived.
Because that's usually, that's really the context that you use it in. Call someone the swine.
Yeah, because it survived, like much in the same way, bitch survived because it became an insult, even though no one uses that to refer to a dog. So, yes, that is your fun English fact.
We did it.
We did it. After all these years, we learned something.
The road goes ever on and on, down from the door where it began. Now far ahead the road is gone, and I must follow it, if I can, pursuing it with eager feet until it joins some larger way, where many paths and errands meet. And whither then, I cannot say.